Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to go over the ignition weapon buffs for L and Runda. We're first going to look at what they changed in the side effects, then we're going to talk about some usage tips on when you want to run this kind of ignition weapon, and finally we're going to look at the best users for these sets, and also some honorable mentions between the units that can use them. And I will mention before we start that both ignition weapons, I raised them to the S rank. The reason for that is that they are so good on some units that they are a better alternative to Bari, and I wanted to place them on the same level. They might not be as universal as Bari, obviously, but I think the use cases where they shine heavily justify placing them in the same ranking. Also, because if I were to place them in A rank, then they would be on the same level as stuff like Sundance, Morphlesia, etc. And I don't think it's fair. They're way better than those. So that's why I placed them in S. As more and more sets are going to be buffed, maybe I will move the placement a little bit, but for now, they're going to stay there. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. But yeah, I gave S to both L and Runda. So, okay, that aside, we can start with L first. And the way they change the set effect is fairly simple. For the two-piece, they added the cannot be removed condition, which is really good. They're going to do the same for every single ignition weapon set, I'm sure. So that's good. The 20 attack speed remained, and they added a 10% basic attack pierce. This is okay, but it's nothing important for most of the units we're going to run this set on. So it's okay, it's an addition, but not really important. Then for the four-piece, we got a massive addition. Whenever you land a basic attack, you're going to create a hit barrier with one durability that is going to last for 3 seconds, and you have a max of 3 stacks. This hit barrier is basically the same as Yugo, so it's going to nullify any attack up to 3 times. Now, there is a major problem with this, but I'm going to mention that in a second. First, let's finish reading the 4-piece effect. So if you do not take damage for 5 seconds, your attack is going to be increased by 50% and attack speed by 30, same as before. This part did not change, and these cannot be removed with buff removal skills. Okay, perfect, fine. So what was I saying about the hit barrier? There is a main problem with this. It's not gonna work against multi-hit attacks. You know it if you played Yugo, it's always the same thing. The enemies that kind of cause issues to Yugo now will cause issues to whoever you run L on. So keep that in mind if you're facing Revolution Bomb with this active skill, because the kind of special move field that it leaves behind is not problematic at all. It's just going to consume a few stacks, but it's not a problem. So that's good. It's actually kind of countering Revolution Bomb. But if you are hit by the active skill, maybe I can also pull up real quick BAM to see, like to show you what I was talking about. This one is going to fire a cannon 8 times. If you're hit by 4 of those, then you're dead. So any unit that lands 4 attack or more can likely kill you even when you're running L. So keep that in mind. It's not foolproof, it's not going to work all the time against all enemies, but in most scenarios it is super consistent, especially if the unit you're using it on is ranged. So that's really good. And that's also why it doesn't kind of substitute Bari for all units. There are going to be some conditions, and we're going to mention them in a second, but this is still really good durability wise and can help proc the other part of the 4-piece effect, so this part here, even on units that don't have high invincibility windows or stuff like that. So really good. Overall, I really like this buff. It's useful on a variety of units. So now, when should you run this ignition weapon on a unit? I wrote here in the usage tips a few things. So you can run this on units that have short animation times and are not locked in animation for more than 3 seconds. Because the duration of the shield is obviously 3 seconds. If you're stuck in an animation for 4, when you come out of it, you could immediately die before you can even generate one hit barrier. So you have to keep that in mind. If it was a bit longer, maybe we could have more units that could leverage it. But with 3 seconds is fairly strict. Still good enough on a lot of units that have quick animations, but the ones with long ones are not really going to benefit from it that much. And well, I'm going to mention in a second one unit that some people are having good results with, but I don't think is really a reasonable set to run. But we're going to go through that in a second. So that's the first condition. You should not be stuck in animation for 3 or more seconds. The second condition would be to be ranged. This is a bit more optional because there are some exceptions to it, but in general, ranged users will benefit a lot more from that because they're less subject to like multi-hit attacks. Usually, some multi-hit attacks are mostly close range. So if you're ranged, you're just going to have to resist one attack every now and then, one random projectiles that might come your way. So it's a lot easier to use this weapon. And it's also a lot easier to get your first barrier before the enemies start basic attacking you. Because if you are close range, you need to get close to generate the first hit barrier, and you might be dead by the time you approach the enemy. So keep that in mind. It's really, really important. The last part is that the unit needs to have good effects on basic attacks, meaning like, I don't know, debuffs applied on basic attacks or damage the scales of the enemy max HP on basic attacks. So those kind of effects. And then they want to spam the special move. Well, it's not an and, it's an or. So one of the two conditions, like for example, a lightning spear Kunmashini would satisfy the first condition. She has max HP damage on the basic attack, so she definitely wants to cast it. She also has a paralyze, thanks to her passive on basic attacks. So if you spam it more, then you're definitely going to get more benefits out of it. Another unit could be Addon. It has max HP damage on basic attacks. So the more you use, the more damage it's going to deal. So that's great. Then the second condition would be units that want to spam the special move, because if you do more basic attacks, you're going to generate more energy, which in turn means you're going to spam the special move more. So those are kind of the two conditions that you want to satisfy, the kind of two scenarios. Addon, the unit I just mentioned, falls in both of them because he wants to spam basic attacks because he has good basic attacks, and he also wants energy because he has a great special move. So Addon is one of the best users of this set, but okay, whatever. That being said, those are the conditions. So if you find a unit that I did not mention here that satisfy this condition, or maybe in the future a unit is going to be released that falls in this category, you already know that you can run L on them. So that's kind of the idea. And the last sentence that I wrote here is just what I was saying before. You don't have to use this on units that have attack scaling because of this 50% attack. It's not that restrictive, it's not that important, don't worry about it. This is mostly for units that, again, apply effects on basic attacks or want the additional energy to spam the special move. Those are kind of the conditions. So I would say we can get started and have a look at the best in slot, like the best users of this set, and then a few honorable mentions between the can be used by category, let's say. Before we start with this, I wanted to quickly mention that I have to thank a lot of people on Discord for providing some testing and some recommendations on a lot of these kind of units. I tested all of them afterwards, like by climbing the tower and playing. I tried all the sets on all of the units just to make sure and double check. But I have to thank everyone on Discord for providing solid information. And I have to thank also, especially Well Played GGVP, because he provided some very, very good and smart, I think, recommendations, like Runda on some units and L on some others. So definitely thank you guys for the support and for the heads up. And check out also Well Played GGVP. He has a YouTube channel and he's uploading a lot of YouTube shorts. You can definitely take inspiration from those if you want. He's going to upload a lot of clears there. And he also has a lot of videos on the game, but they're mostly in Indonesian, so it might not be easy to follow. You can always use the caption if you want. But yeah, definitely check his channel out. So that being said, I think we can keep going with the kind of best in slot units for L. The first one, well, these are all in alphabetical order, so there is no better or worse. It's just, again, alphabetical. We have a unit like Spear Baranak. She's really good with L because it's going to provide her a lot of kind of survivability. It's not mandatory to run L on her, to be honest. You can definitely get away with something else, depending on the composition you play her in. But I think it could be on, like in most scenarios, an improvement over Barry. Still, if you had a Barry set, don't go out of your way to farm an L set for her. It's not worth it. She's a support. Don't stress about it. But it's definitely a decent upgrade. She's going to provide a lot of value from her basic attacks, and she's also going to generate more energy, which in turn is a better uptime on the special move. So, is a decent option. There are better ones, probably, depending on the team again, but this one I think is solid enough to deserve a best in slot. But let me know in the comments. I might move it to can be used, so like of an alternative. And yeah, okay. But that's enough. The second one is also another that is really kind of irrelevant. Anna. I think L overall is a decent option for her. It's going to provide her with some survivability and some more spamming of the special move. Does she need it? No, to be honest, you could even just not give her anything and it would be the same. She's only there for the bunny that is going to group enemies initially, and that's it. The rest is irrelevant even if she dies, so be it. So again, whatever you have on Anna is going to be fine. I just think L is a bit above the other options, but it hardly matters. Then we have a Craptor, and he's an SSR DPS unit. I would say that with the recent supports we got, a lot of SSR units can act as DPSs now. A Craptor, not so much. Still decent. I think L definitely improved his performance, especially his survivability part of it, because I think Sanders still has a bit more damage. Even though L can buff the special move damage, that's the thing that Sanders doesn't do. So they are kind of the same in terms of damage output. It's just that L is now way better for survivability. So it's a lot more comfortable to use. If you are trying to make a Craptor work, give it a try, but it hardly matters. Then we have finally one of the important ones. We have Augustus. He's definitely going to benefit from the L buff, but I will say it seems to be bugged on him because I do not see the affected shield. Every now and then it appears, then it disappears out of nowhere. I don't know why. It seems to be bugged, at least visually, because in terms of effectiveness, it seems to work, but I'm not sure. So, okay, try it. It's definitely his best in slot, but it is a bit weird at the moment. If you don't see the shield, don't worry, it should be working. So, yeah, just wanted to mention that. Another unit would be Dawn. She can still run Bari, obviously, just to protect from random one-shots, but considering she's untargetable, you can definitely get away with running L. It's going to boost her damage, it's going to allow her to spam more special moves, which is 99% of her damage. So that's really good stuff. And I think L is absolutely amazing on her. Give it a try if you're using Dawn. It's definitely worth the switch. So that I can say. Then we have Elizabeth. I don't think it makes sense to talk about it. To be honest, the units like Anak, Anna, Craptor, Elizabeth, etc., like units that are not really used. Okay, no. Anak and Anna, I will mention units like them, but a Craptor, Elizabeth that are SSR DPS units, not really. Maybe we're going to focus next month that are going to give the SSR plus upgrade for the SSR units. Then we're going to talk about them, but for now, for the purpose of this video, I will just skip through them. And yeah, that's it. So for Elizabeth, okay, fine, she can work with it, no big deal. Then we have all like both Garams, so the new one and the old one. And I will say that L is the best set for them. Bari obviously still works. If you have Bari, you don't have to feel pressure to go with L. Doesn't really have that big of an impact. So you can stick to Bari. Or if you have Runda on them, is fine. Also, Runda is a decent option, especially if the enemies can be CC'd. That's okay. But yeah, definitely L is amazing because again, they are ranged units, so they can get stuck before the enemy starts attacking them. And they can generate a lot more energy for the special move, and they love to spam the special move. So for both of them, L is an amazing option. Gustang, kind of falls in the SSR category, to be honest. It's okay to boost his damage a little bit. I don't think he's really a support, but he's not even a DPS. It's kind of a weird unit. Let's move on. Let's not really talk about him. Same for Gitang. His damage is so low and he's an SSR. I don't want to talk about him. Then we have Eljo. Now, for Eljo, I think L is the best in slot at the moment. It definitely boosts his durability quite a lot and his spammability of the special move. I will say that the barrier will expire while he's in the special move, but it's not too big of a deal because it does reposition, so they cannot really hit him after he's gone back to where he started from. It should be fine. I tried it. It's working perfectly fine for me. So I think it's a great improvement over whatever other option you were running before. And I think it is the best option just because all the other ones are kind of trash on him. So until they buff one of the other sets, I think L is the better option. And I think it's worth it going for it. So yeah, definitely massive improvement. Then we have XSR plus Kaiser and XSR plus only. The SSR plus one I would only run on Sundance, to be honest. You could run on L if you're playing them both together, because at that point the buffing that XSR plus Kaiser provides kind of outweigh the loss of damage that you lose out of not having Sundance on the SSR plus. But yeah, I only put it as best in slot for the XSR plus one because she's going to be the buffer, and we care that she stays alive more than she kind of deals damage. So that's the only reason why. But normally, for damage output, Sandness is better. You can run again both of them together, and then L is fine for both. But otherwise, stick to Sandness for the SSR plus one and L for the XSR plus one. Then we have Kunedan. I already mentioned him before. Amazing set for him. Is going to generate a lot of energy. Is going to increase the damage he deals with the passive, like the passive that deals the max HP damage on basic attacks. So really, really good. Amazing synergy. Great set for him. Kunatsling, again, we're going to skip. Then we have Kun Mashini SSR Plus, and the other one we're going to mention in a second. So let's do them separately. And Kun Mashini obviously benefits a lot from basic attacks as well. She has max HP damage on them. It seems to be bugged on some people. I tried it. For me, it worked fine. In terms of like the max HP damage, this is not talking about L. It's just in general for Lightning Spear Kun Mashini. Some people, like will play GGVP, has some sort of bug on Kun Mashini for some reason. The max HP damage doesn't seem to be proccing, but for me, it seems to be working. So I don't know, no idea. But back to the L topic, I think it's amazing set is going to boost her survivability, which is one of her weaknesses, and is also going to just increase the amount of damage she deals thanks to the faster attack speed. So that's just amazing. Best in slot 100%. For the other Kunmashini, kind of best in slot as well because Sandness is irrelevant on her. She deals no damage whatsoever anyway. This is just here for added survivability and for more spammability of this passion move. That's it. But don't use XSR plus Mashini, do yourself a favor, just whatever. Then we have Lurker Kim. Whatever, maybe more for bossing, but not even that, so just ignore it, is an SSR, fine. Then we have Mori Calliope. I think L will work pretty well on her. I put it as best in slot. I'm not too sure. I don't use Mori that often, so I'm not certain about it. Could be that Myeongul would be best in slot or still Bari. I'm not 100% sure. Whatever set you were running on her, you can keep running it. I just think L is pretty solid because her special move is decent. She has other ways to distract enemies so that they don't attack her. She has conceal, she has provoke on the summon being that she summons. So all things considered, L is quite reliable on her, and I think is better than Bari in most scenarios. But again, I'm not a Mori expert, so whatever. Then we have Mew Love. Is also an SSR. We might spend a couple of words because there are a lot of people in Discord, especially Whis, that is always going on about Mew Love. And it's definitely decent. It can run L, I think, perfectly fine. It will boost its durability. It will synergize very well with this kit that loves attack speed. So what can we say? Definitely an improvement. When we're going to get the SSR Plus upgrade for all SSR units, then we're going to talk more about that and about New Love and all the others. So that's enough for now. Rachel always had L as the best in slot, so nothing really changed. He's a bit better, but Rachel is kind of garbage, so let's move on. Let's not talk about her. Compressed rack, again, SSR, we're not going to talk about it, but definitely best in slot for him now. Then we have Ren. Ren, really, really good kind of unit with this set. I always run L on him since I started using him. For now, it's mostly PvP unit. I don't know what you should be running on PvP Ren. No clue. Probably still L now after the buff. But yeah, you won't really use him for adventure. You might use him for trials, but again, kind of irrelevant. L is going to be your best option, and that's fine. Then we have 25th Bomb that we also have here on the right. And Bomb, I will say, is really, really good with L. It's not going to synergize 100%, but it's definitely going to help. His special move is not most of his damage. Most of his damage is, again, the active skill that we were looking at before. But still, I think it's decent enough. It will give him a good degree of protection and also spam of the special move, which is useful for the buff, like for debuffs it provides. So overall, is decent. Verdi, we're going to skip. Viol already kind of had it. It was a mix between L and Sundance. Now, definitely L is a bit better compared to the alternative. But yeah, you can run both. It's fine. And yeah, I don't know how many people are actually using Viol, but okay, fine. Vivi, Wangnang, and Yeonhee all got a bit of buffing from the L buff, but hardly matters. Again, those are SSR units. We're not going to focus too much on them. Now, going over to the can be used by section, I will obviously not go through all of them. It doesn't make a lot of sense. There are a lot of weird units that could potentially use it, but don't make a lot of sense. I just wanted to go through some honorable mentions. The first one being Yugo. I think Yugo could actually arguably have L as the best in slot. The other option would also be Runda. I think both of them are perfectly fine on Hugo, but I still left Alocasia as the best in slot. The reason for that is that Alocasia is going to be buffed sooner or later, like in a couple of months, and neither of the other two, like neither L or Runda, are providing enough value to say, okay, they are 100% better than Alocasia. I tried all three sets in a lot of different scenarios, both in like solo Yugo teams with a couple of units, with full teams, and I got similar results. In solo play, Alocasia was always kind of better than the other two for some reason. Against certain enemies, L was also a bit weaker, especially if a unit had a lot of hits on the basic attacks, etc., that you would normally dodge with Alocasia, but you're not anymore with L. So there are a lot of conditions for which there is no clear like winner between the three sets. I think of the three, probably Runda is the most consistent, but yeah, at the end of the day, it hardly matters. Just run whatever set you want out of the three. If you already had one, don't change it. I don't think it's justifiable. It doesn't matter. Really, Yuga is going to perform either way. So all three of them are fine. Then another honorable mention is Hockney. I still left him with Bari, I believe, but you can run him with L. It's going to be fine because he's not going to be damaged in the first 5 seconds of the fight. So you can easily get some stacks going with L. It's going to generate more energy for the special move. His animations are also not that long, so he's a good candidate for this set. Obviously, the damage portion is irrelevant. We're just using it for utility. If you're against multi-hits, well, we don't need to say it, but Bari is probably better. Even though Hockney has a high evasion rate thanks to his special move, So even multi-hits, you can dodge most of them, or maybe the 3-hit shield will be enough. Kind of depends, but yeah, definitely a reasonable pick for this ignition weapon set. Another one is Princess. I think is not that good of a set because she's going to do some basic attacks at first, maybe generate some energy to spam the special move a bit more, and also have that hit block. Okay, but is not really justifiable enough from my point of view. The good thing is that once she reaches max stacks, she will not cast the basic attack anymore, but at that point you don't care about the survivability part of the ignition weapon. She will always have the 50 attack speed and the 50% attack percent. So good, I guess, but not really exceptional. I wouldn't bother with it. And yeah, maybe we're going to mention Princess of Zard more later, but is not really that great of a set from my point of view. It works 100%, but I would rather run something else. Another unit that I think can work really well with it, and I'm using it quite a lot, is Tolwa. Is a bit interesting probably for most people, but she's ranged. She has short animations. She has an amazing special move. So all of the boxes are kind of checked. And yeah, I tried it. It works really well. So ability wise, decent, and the utility provided by the extra energy and the spam of the special move is absolutely amazing. And yeah, not much to say. I think it is better than Bari in most scenarios. Runda might be even better, but more on that later, I think. So yeah, definitely Towa, not to be underestimated. L works really, really well on her. Another unit I wanted to mention is Irang. Irang has too long, like her animations are a bit too long, especially when she starts using the special move. Then she changes the sort of an active skill, etc. Not really the best. It's true that if the enemies can be CC'd, usually she will not receive many attacks. So you should be able to use it. You can try. I tried it. It worked okay. At times she just died randomly, but it was fine. I mean, her job was already done, so I guess it works. But yeah, I'd rather have Bari, especially with all the assassins and units that can hit at the start of the battle. It's probably better to have that additional protection. You don't need her to do damage anyway. She's going to chain the special move fairly well, even without L, so it's just an alternative, but I wouldn't consider it a best in slot. That's kind of the idea. And yeah, that's more or less all the honorable mentions. Everyone else can kind of use it, will be fine, especially units like Alice, Albelda, Alfine. Those kind of units would be okay. It's not that exceptional, so I just didn't want to, again, talk too much about those. I just didn't even add them in the honorable mention list. And yeah, guys, that's all for L. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if you found any other units that can use it exceptionally well. But yeah, now we can move on to Runda because otherwise the video is going to be 1 hour long and I don't want that. So, okay. For Runda, what they changed is that, of course, the two-piece effect is going to be unremovable now, and they upgraded it from 20% max HP to 30%. A good amount, fairly reasonable. Then the four-piece effect is going to grant all allies in the same row 30% wielder current max HP. So, good. This shield does not stack, so do not run two Runda sets on the same row, which is also where it gets tricky to recommend a lot of units with this one best in slot, because then you build a Runda set for everybody and you have two Rundas on the same row, which is arguably kind of a bad idea. So you don't want this to happen. You should try to get only one Runda set per row. But yeah, still okay. The effect is pretty decent. The 30% HP barrier could be sizable on some units, so not irrelevant. And then there is a like 10-second duration to this barrier, 50% defense increase. That's the same as before. And now from 50 energy per second, it was upgraded to 100 energy per second. That's absolutely massive. It only procs, obviously, as long as you have the shield. So this will again be one of the conditions we will have below, but okay. So really good effect. Then what they added that is extremely important is that every time you use this passion move, you're going to generate this barrier again. This is massive. The cooldown is 5 seconds, so it doesn't work well on some units because maybe they spam it too much and you're not going to regenerate the shield quickly enough. But it's still decent. I think it's a good idea overall. It's really, really good. So fine, this is an absolute massive effect. Without it, it would have still been kind of shitty set. But with this addition, absolutely amazing, can be used on a lot of units, especially if they satisfy some of the conditions we're going to see here. So the first one is that the unit needs to have good built-in survivability because obviously we're not running Bari, so the units need to be able to survive. And the second reason, which is also, yeah, exactly, is the second reason, but is also kind of built in the first one, is that you should have a skill or a special move that prevents damage taken or caps it or whatever. So it could be invincibility, it could be damage taken cap, it could be conceal, it could be whatever you want, as long as it helps you not take damage from the follow up attacks. Because if you don't take damage, you don't lose the shield, so you keep gaining energy to cast again the special move. So that's really, really important. Obviously, I did not mention it, but you do want to use it on units that have actually good special moves. Otherwise, it's kind of irrelevant, let's say. So those are the conditions. If you satisfy those, then the unit can run Runda. We have some best in slot users. There are not as many as L, but I think actually a lot of the can be used would actually be also best in slot because they don't have better alternatives for the most part. But I still didn't really place them there. I still left most of them with Bari or other options. So the first unit is Albelda. She has decent survivability because she's always concealed, which means she's not, or well, untargetable. So she's not going to be subject to a lot of attacks. Even if you're not running Bari, she's fine most of the time. And she also has an hit barrier in her kit. She has invincibility in her kit. So all of that is great. Her invincibility from the special move lasts for 4 seconds, which means 4 seconds of energy regen guaranteed, which is 400 energy. That's really massive, guys. She's going to chain special move after special move. She's going to improve the survivability of the linked ally a ton more than usual. So I think it's really an amazing set to run. Then we have Alice. She's basically always concealed very, very frequently, so enemies are not going to focus on her that much. And that means that she can easily kind of maintain the shield up and she can generate a lot of energy. Most of her damage comes from the special move, so that is definitely appreciated. For this one, especially, I have to thank again Well Played GGVP for the recommendation. I was trying L when he said, but Runda is actually the best in slot. I'm like, okay, interesting. And yeah, definitely Runda works very, very well with Alice. So check it out if you have an Alice maxed out. And yeah, that's it. Really good set. Then we have the new unit Hayura, and she doesn't have the best of her abilities on her own, unless she lands obviously the Fanatic contract on everybody. But still, this set is very, very good because normally in our teams, you do want either grouping to allow her to get a lot of targets with the Fanatic contract, or you want another support that can cover for her. So in both cases, you don't really need too much durability. I only run her with Runda so far. I obviously tried at first Bari, but that's pretty obvious how it works. But I will say with Runda, I had very little trouble keeping her alive, so that's perfectly fine to me. I think it's an amazing set, and she's going to generate a bit more energy for herself and the team, so that's good. Another unit that might come as a surprise to some of you is Caliban. This does not work at higher deficits, but it's okay, I guess. 350 to 400, you can still run him on Runda. And the reason why this works is because his passive will nullify all damage that is below 15% HP. Which means if you increase your own max HP thanks to the two piece, then this threshold is automatically a bit higher. So you can tank a bit better. some of the damage that before you took directly now can be nullified, which is pretty good. And also, due to the fact that you are not getting damaged, basically, means that the shield from Runda can be up a lot of time. And that means you're going to spam your special move quite a lot. And the special move for Caliban is an important piece of his kit, and is going to provide grouping thanks to the passive that every time you use a skill is going to kind of deal an attack that is going to knock enemies towards you. So, really good set. Only going to work on low deficit, but still pretty amazing. Then we have Awakened Rock. Also similar logic. He also has a passive that is based on HP threshold damage. And his is a bit higher, especially when he's in the passive state. So when he goes below a certain threshold, it will have a 9 hit shield that is going to only decrease the count when it takes more than 30% of his HP. And this is going to be a massive increase to that amount. So added survivability. And while he's in that state, then he's going to have a lot more energy because his shield is not going to be damaged as much. It's going to be up, and is going to have, again, more energy to spam this special move, which is really important because the special move has damage taken reduction, 80% less damage taken. And that's really good. I think Runda on Awakened Rock could actually bring him up a little bit in the ranking. Not too much, but it is definitely worth trying out. So if you didn't do it, because for me, it worked reasonably well. I really liked it. So I think it's the best set. People might argue Myeongul is better for the other effects. Yes and no. The provoke is on an active skill. I don't really like it, so let's pull up the Awakened Rock. At the moment, I think I have a random set on him. Yeah, whatever. I'm moving set back and forth from a lot of units. And if you look at the special move, this is just the knock up, and then there is the damage take reduction. 60% here, 20% in exclusive equipment. And I mean, Myeongul is on this one. So, if the provoke was on the special move, then maybe Myeongul would have been better. But as it is right now, no. I would just rather go Runda is way more effective from my point of view. So yeah, that's it for Awakened Rock. Then we have Sharon. Now, Sharon with the Runda is really interesting because she has damage taken cap, which means she's not going to take as much damage to the shield. It's going to be up, and she's going to keep on generating energy, which is really decent. You don't have the issue that another unit like Reflejo, that has the same mechanic, would have, because Reflejo has an issue. He cannot guarantee casting the first special move on his own. He kind of needs Barry for that reason. And Sharon does not have that problem because she has the passive that is going to guarantee a cast of the special move. Because whenever she goes below a certain threshold, she will have a 2-second invincibility and she's going to recover energy, which is amazing. Just means that she's going to cast the special move or regenerate Runda shield, and then for the duration of the special move, she's going to have the damage cap to whatever damage she takes, and that's going to make the barrier last for the whole duration, which means she's going to generate energy, cast the special move again, and she will always have this uptime. All of that while providing energy and barriers to everyone else on the same row. If you use that with Princess on the same row, Princess will have a way easier time because Princess will have a 10-second damage redirection to Sharon thanks to the passive, which means for those 10 seconds, she will have Runda barrier up all the time. Really good stuff. Is going to speed up the amount of time reduce the amount of time that Princess takes to get to 10 stacks of the passive. So, to me, great set. Some people are also arguing for Myeongul. I don't like Myeongul just because the passive, especially if you're playing with Princess, is not going to proc that frequently. Once the fight keeps going and the special move is up, nobody will really go below the HP threshold. So no provokes are cast, and you are effectively only using Myeongul for the first part of the fight, maybe the first two kind of passive activations, optionally two because it's not guaranteed. So one is certain, the second one not really. And if for some reason you're missing your your provoke, then you lose out on the value from Myeongul entirely. It is viable, 100%. I just don't like it. Also, let's say that you don't block the energy of the enemies at the start of the battle. It hardly matters because you're not going to be CC'd. Both Princess and Sharon have a heavy focus on effect resistance coming from the warrior subnodes in Revolution. So it's not really that big of a deal. Even if enemies are attacking you, you're not taking damage anyway. You're going to avoid CCs for the most part. So I guess it's not really that useful, if you know what I mean. So I'd rather have Runda, to be honest. That's kind of up to you, but yeah, definitely a really good improvement. Then we have Tokoyami Towa, and I mentioned her in the L kind of part of the video. She definitely works well with the L, and she also works well with Runda because her special move provides a 4-second invincibility for everybody. This only applies, again, Rainbow 5, not before. But yeah, a Rainbow 5 and Revolution 5, she's going to provide this 4-second invincibility for the whole team, which means the entire row is going to have 400 energy minimum, which is pretty massive in most scenarios. So Runda is absolutely great. It is a bit of an issue maybe in the early stages or in the very first few seconds of the fight. She could get assassinated. So you have to be careful. But if you are careful a little bit and she gets the first special move, then it's smooth sailing from there. That's what I wanted to mention. So I think it definitely deserves the best in slot for Towa. But again, if you want to go L, is not really that wrong. It can work perfectly fine. Then we have Traum Ray. For Traum Ray is also a very interesting pick. This one was also recommended by Well Played GGVP. I think it's a smart move because this guy is concealed all the time, so it's unlikely to be kind of attacked. Well, he's untargetable more than concealed, or whatever. And this is really, really important because it means the Runda shield is going to be up. He's going to cast the first special move super quickly. He already starts with 700 energy. So within the first 2 seconds, more or less, he's going to cast the first special move, which means super early crowd control on the enemy team with Jolt, with Silence, whatever. Really good. And is then going to provide again energy to the whole row, and is going to keep on spamming this crowd control. If the enemies can be crowd controlled, this is massive. If they are not, then it's kind of whatever. But Tromray never really had a better set. It's Bari, but that is still the best set, I think, for PvP purposes. But I mean, Bari was the better alternative, and it just provided protection from random one shots. Yeah, great, but not really that useful. L now could be worth trying because you're still going to generate more energy. It's still range, it's not going to be targeted. It's good enough for protection. So also L, if you saw before, it appeared in the can be used by column. But it's so like both of them will work. Kind of up to you. I think both of them are better than Bari right now. And yeah, that's all I wanted to mention. Then we have XSR plus Urek Mazino. And if you are at around 300 deficit, Runda works really, really well. I would say he still dies. I'm at 320. There are some matches where he works perfectly fine, he stays alive the whole time, and it provides massive value. There are other times where he dies after a little bit. So, kind of hard to tell. It definitely appreciates the extra HP, and the barrier it provides is going to be massive because he has a lot of additional HP when you're playing him in a blue team, coming from the passive there. So really good. But I don't know. Like probably Bari is still better if you are at higher deficits, like 350 and above, maybe 400 and above. Before then, you could give Runda a shot. It would be probably working fine. So yeah, what can we say? I think he got a decent improvement. Is now he's definitely way better than the standard SSR plus Urek, but probably not usable still. I mean, you can use him, but you're going to bench him. Like at a certain point, you will bench him. That's all I wanted to say. Then we have Elite Spy Shia Shia. Let me also pull her up because she's one of the best users of Runda that we have in the game because her base durability is amazing. She has kind of invincibility in the special move is only 2 seconds, so it's not as tall what it is 4. This one is only 2, but she's guaranteed to get to it. Like there is no way that Shia is not gonna cast the first special move, which means 200 energy guaranteed for the same row where you're using her in, and that's quite good. Again, not as good as Stalwa, but considering that Shia base durability is so good, I think this set is her best in slot, no question. The alternative would be Bari, but that just procs kind of randomly and overlaps with her passive, so whatever. Rafflesia, maybe, yeah. But Runda is definitely well above everything else for Shia. So if you're using her, definitely switch her to Runda, amazing set. Next one is going to be Hiwa. Also in her case, amazing set to give to her because Bari never really worked that great. I mean, it was fine, but normally the teams you play her in have like Mamanak or Sharon or something else for additional survivability. So you don't really need to run Bari. It is fine. She's going to get to the first special move anyway, even without anything. And I think Runda provides that extra value, especially in a Mamanak, Eden, and Iwa team. It's going to be super massive for the extra energy for Eden. That is also going to keep up the barrier quite reliably because he has a projectile block barrier and he also runs L. So amazing combo there. He's going to get a ton more energy. And I think it's really, really a great set to run on Hiwa. Now we also have the other Iwa. Again, she's an SSR. I'm going to skip on her to be honest, but she can work with it because she's not going to cast basic attacks while in the special move animation, which means L is not that great for her. But Runda can actually work, and yeah, that's all I wanted to mention. But whatever. Then in terms of honorable mentions, we have Yugo, which I already talked about before. Is going to work well with her because the extra energy provided from Runda is going to be up most of the times because Yugo has a hit shield, so you're not going to damage the barrier. The barrier is going to be up and will keep on providing energy to Yugo, which will cast more special move, which will mean she is going to refresh the shield more and more and more, and also deal more damage. The damage part would obviously be inferior to the L variant because L is going to boost her kind of attack as well, but it hardly matters. The difference is not that big. So I think that Runda can be comfortable as well. But as I mentioned before, for Yugo, any of the 3 sets will be perfectly fine. Up to you. All I'm saying is that when they're going to Buffalo Kazi, you might have to switch back to it, but we'll see. We'll see. It's not guaranteed. Maybe they mess up with that kind of set upgrade. So we'll see then. Another honorable mention would be Hockney, and that's because he has again evasion in his special move, which will work kind of well with Runda. If you evade attack, obviously you're not going to lose the barrier, and then you're going to chain that barrier a bit, like that special move a bit better. Also, the first few seconds of the fight it cannot be damaged, so that's pretty good. The barrier is going to be up, is going to cast the special move a lot earlier than usual, and that could be good. That's only if his evasion buff is going to be applicable to you and is going to work for you. But yeah, it's a good set you can run on him for sure. And then, to be honest, I didn't write any additional honorable mentions. Everyone else is kind of whatever. You could run it on Irang because she's going to CC the enemies while in the special move, so that's okay. You can run it on Kumashi, but she's going to lose the shield super quickly, so I don't recommend it. You could run it on both Garams, especially if you are against units that can be crowd controlled. They are going to stun them, which means for 4 or 6 seconds you're going to get free energy basically, and that's usually another special move, and that's going to make chaining special moves a lot easier. I still think L is a bit better. It felt a bit better while using it, but yeah, it can work. It does work, so it is fine. Evan, kind of tricky because you take damage when you are in Evan's special move. Not ideal, but it could work. Not as good as the others, so don't bother with it. And yeah, we have Althine, but she cannot cast the special move even if she has full energy as long as the fox is there. So it's also kind of tricky, could work, might not work, kind of depends. And you're losing out on the early energy because she starts with 1000. So not really recommended for her. And let me see if I missed anybody that could have some interesting effects. I did not mention anything about Eugene. He has evasion buff on the special move. Could be worth trying, but I don't recommend it to be honest. And that's all the important ones, I would say. Okay, I'm sorry guys if the video was 50 minutes long, but yeah, I hope I was as complete as I could in the explanation and that you got some useful information out of this video. Let me know if you found any interesting use cases for these sets. I tried on as many units as I could, and those were the best ones I could find. And I tried to give you the pros and cons on some of them. And yeah, that's pretty much all. Again, look forward to seeing your comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!